From tornadoes to hurricanes, blizzards, and everything in between, you're listening to the Stormfront Freaks podcast. The Stormfront Freaks are former television meteorologist Mark Massaro, atmospheric science graduate and Skywarn storm spotter Brady Harris, digital meteorologist and weather producer on the Weather Channel app Dina Knightley, former on-camera meteorologist at the Weather Channel Kim Cunningham, and I'm your announcer and Skywarn Network coordinator Mark Johnson. Now, here's the moderator of the Stormfront Freaks podcast, Skywarn storm spotter and chaser Phil Johnson.
All right, welcome to the most entertaining weather podcast on your listening and viewing device. This is the Stormfront Freaks podcast. If you are a first-time listener, hey, thanks for checking us out. We'll always encourage you to go to our website, stormfrontfreaks.com, and just check out our backlog of other shows with great weather guests that we've had in the past. We've had Reed Timmer, we've had Jen Carfagno, lots of great guests, so check that out. But this tonight, this is episode 60. This is the second in our series of Women in Chasing, and we're excited tonight to have on none other than, we'll call it right now, Dr. Karen Kosiba, who's an atmospheric scientist and works with the Dow program and Dow trucks quite a bit, so we're going to ask her a lot of questions about that. We'll also, of course, run her through our lightning round. I think you're going to like it tonight. It's great audience participation for that. We're going to have a chance to go through some of our WX resources, pick a few of those for you. And then we do have a new segment we're doing tonight, which don't have an official name for it. It's not yet sponsored, hint, hint, so we're open to that. But it's going to have, it's going to be some strange weather stories, Ripley, believe it or not kind of a thing. Obviously, that's a pretty big title right there. But always lots of fun. But before we get to that, I want to remind you, our partners, HelicityDesigns.com. If you're a weather freak, and you got to be if you listen or watch us, you got to check out HelicityDesigns.com. They've got all kinds of great weather merchandise, weather gear, great themed T-shirts, and other things. There's things there that they have that he keeps coming up with that I would never have thought of myself. But they, of course, have our exclusive line of Stormfront Freaks podcast gear, like some great shirts like Only You Can Prevent Weather Fools, and, of course, our concert T-shirt that they did after our 50th episode. It was our Lightning Round Tour T-shirt. And, of course, on the back, it lists, just like a concert tour, every single one of our stops, it lists our first 50 guests that we had on the show for the first 50 episodes. So that's pretty cool. You can check that out at HelicityDesigns.com. And while you're there, you may as well get a discount. You may as well get 5% off. Yeah. When you check out, just use the code PODCAST. So PODCAST. Go ahead and use that code. I'm trying to make sure he didn't change that. I don't think he changed it.
Is that a hard one for people to spell?
We'll find it. Yeah, I don't know. We were changing up a few times. I'm like, let's just stick with one. It's pretty easy. So podcast, PODCAST. Use that at checkout, and it will get you 5% off your whole order, which is kind of cool. So it's, as always, happy hour. It's always happy hour when we record this thing. It doesn't matter what time of night it is or what day it happens to be, but it is happy hour, Karen, and so we introduce all of our co-hosts so you get a chance to find out, hear from them. But also it introduces the fact that we like to have a lot of fun and drink on our show. We've even had someone ask if this is a drinking podcast. And I replied, yes. Yes, it
sure.
is.
Why not?
So, Kim,
Yes.
Kim, you're going back to old school tonight, right?
And I love beer, and I love IPAs, are my favorite. But because of the diet thing, I was trying to stay away from things with a lot of calories. But again, to football season, I had to go back to beer. So tonight, I'm drinking Lagunitas. You guys are aware of this one. It's an IPA. It's a good go-to for me. And this one's out of, it's brewed in California or in Chicago, from what I understand. So
It's one of the two. Who knows?
One of the two. I don't know which one. But drinking it out of a UGA glass. So go Dogs.
All right. Well, it's football season. All right, Maz, what's your football team of choice, and what are you drinking tonight?
Well, drinking, I'm back on the diet, so I'm back on the Mick Ultra.
Good old Mick Ultra.
Yeah. Plus, I went to the fridge, and my wife had a 12-pack, and I'm like, oh, sweet, I'm taking one, honey. So, team, hey, the University of Nebraska Cornhuskers, there's a frost warning. You guys don't know anything about that. Our new head
No.
coach, Scott Frost.
Oh.
So it's a big deal. Very big.
I can see why you like that. And then we've got our disembodied head tonight. MJ up in Minnesota does not have a camera. So if you're listening, it doesn't really matter. It's nothing different. But if you're watching, you're not going to see MJ tonight. We figured he's naked. Drinking what? What are you drinking tonight? Naked behind that.
Tonight I have a tall Captain and Coke. Unfortunately, you can't see it, but I've gone just back to a staple.
Well, he could be lying about that, right?
I know.
Good. That's true. Can't believe you. Can't believe anything
You will
hear.
perhaps know at the end of the show.
That's true.
That's right.
When the swallows
true.
come back.
All right, so Karen, our guest tonight, Karen knew all about our happy hour, and I hear she brought a cup of coffee to the table. But Kim, I'm going to turn it over to you to introduce our esteemed guest tonight and get started.
Okay. Very excited to introduce Dr. Karen Kosiba. Karen's an atmospheric scientist at the Center for Severe Weather Research in Boulder, Colorado. She's a strong believer in experiencing weather from the inside of Doppler on wheels. I love that. Radar truck, it's a radar truck, and she participated in a multitude of field projects, including radar observations of tornadoes and thunderstorms, the experiment rotate, hurricanes and landfall, the verification of the origins of rotation and thunderstorms experiment, Vortex 2, and Long Lake Axis Parallel Lake Effect Storms Project. Wow. Just to name a few of the things she's done. She's also received a BS in physics at Loyola University, a MS in physics, and an MAT in teacher education at Miami University, and a PhD in atmospheric science at Purdue University. And Karen, I have to say, I've been a big fan of yours, just knowing what you have done for women, especially in the science field, and what you have and your accomplishments. And I guess since when I was a little girl, my dream was to do probably what you're doing, and that was to study tornadoes and to figure out why. But I kind of went a different direction. I think a lot of folks out there are probably curious, how did a little girl get to this point in her life? I mean, it's just an incredible career for you.
Oh, you're actually asking.
Yeah. Well, I mean, how did you start? Were you always interested in weather, or is this something that came later
actually
after
not.
your physics?
I feel like I should have some good backstory here. Because
you don't have to. Nope.
I know, and then there was this no. I think as a kid, I was always interested in the world around me. And I was super afraid, actually, of thunderstorms and lightning. And at some point in my life, I was also really afraid of tornadoes. And probably ultimately that inspired me to get into meteorology and study those things and to learn more and to really understand stuff and not be afraid of it. But I was pretty aimless for a while, as you could tell by my degrees in physics, which seemed like they should do something.
Yeah,
they should take me somewhere.
Right.
So then, somehow, some way, I guess eventually when I grew up, I realized that there's a lot of unanswered questions in meteorology, and I had some fun opportunities as a student to go work with the Doppler on wheels stuff. And I really liked the idea of working with that kind of technology, and then the idea of sort of designing my own experiments and going out in the field and actually collecting the data and getting the data that I wanted to answer these questions. So that's what I've been doing for the last 15 years.
Wow.
You're not afraid of tornadoes? Because I'm still afraid of tornadoes.
The funny thing is that when I'm like doing research and stuff, that I'm so absorbed in what I'm doing, like I am so disengaged, which is always horrible, like from what's actually happening outside of the radar truck. Like I'm so into like getting the data, getting in the right spot, making sure everything looks good, that like, I think I've probably like actually looked out the window probably like 3 times.
Wow.
Which is pretty horrible. Everybody's always like, look, tornado. And I'm like,
Karen, what's your role with the team? So obviously when you're doing that, you've got the Dow trucks, but you've got a number of others in vehicles as part of the team typically, right? So what's your role within the Dow truck? Are you trying to help place people? Are you checking on something else? What role do you play?
Well, it's evolved, but basically what I'm doing is, I'm trying to help place people. I'm usually running one of the radars because, especially for tornadoes, obviously you're, looking at where the tornado is and where people need to be relative to that. So I'm busy doing the radar stuff, and then also placing people, making decisions, working with my colleagues out there to hopefully get us in the best possible place.
So what's
in
the
the field,
biggest?
yeah.
What's the biggest group you've had that you guys have been a part of all these projects you've been in?
Yeah, I mean, Vortex 2 is big, like not just our group, but like, you know, outside all these different groups there. So Vortex 2 had a lot of people in it, 100 plus. I did this project called Pecan, which also had like 100 plus people. But for our group, for CSWR, it just depends on the project, but sometimes, you know, suddenly we have 30 people that I'm responsible for,
Wow.
you know, during a project like that, because we have, you know, 3 radar trucks, 4 mesonettes and stuff like that.
So where are the trucks tonight?
They might be in Panama, actually.
What?
I'm not
Panama?
exactly, yes. So we're doing a project this fall in Argentina called Relampago. And a week ago, we loaded the trucks up in Houston, and they're on a boat headed towards Buenos Aires. So I think last I heard they were somewhere near Panama.
Oh my gosh. So what are you guys going to be doing the research with that, or they're going to be using it, their government, or how's that working?
We're actually doing the research. So we do all these different types of projects. I mean, some of these projects that I've done, I'm just what we call project science, not just, but it's not my research. I'm just helping to make sure that the radars are out there and ready and all that kind of stuff, which is fun because it's fun to see all these different types of weather phenomena that I'm not necessarily studying. But Relampago, we're actually scientists in that project as well. So we're bringing out our stuff, but also we have a scientific interest in getting data out there.
Wow.
So if it's on a boat, like how much insurance do you have to put on that thing?
If that boat sinks, are you wondering what happens?
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my
Well, we got 2 left. You know.
No, they're all on there. All of our
they're
stuff
all-
is on there. Yes,
Ooh.
we have nothing in Boulder right now. Well, we have one radar truck in Boulder. We're actually building a new radar that we're trying to get out there. That's a bit fast, but we're going to do it.
What kind of radar is it?
It's going to be so the Doppler on wheels, the Dow ones that we've been routinely operating are X-band radars. So they have a 3.5 centimeter wavelength, and they're good for a lot of things. So they're good for, you know, studying tornadoes, and they're kind of a good mix for seeing small scale stuff and somewhat larger scale stuff. But at a certain point, they attenuate. So you can't see sometimes, you know, back of supercell thunderstorms, or if you're doing this big project with these MCSs, these really big rainy things, you can't, you know, see the whole thing really well. So the C-band radar, which is a 5 centimeter wavelength radar, is also going to be on a truck, but it has a really cool design where normally the antenna is just fixed on the pedestal and we can get down the road no problem. But in order to get the same beam width with the C-band, so with this 5 centimeter radar, we have this antenna that we actually assemble in the field. So we have this really big, you know, 12-foot antenna that you can't drive with, but it comes in 2 pieces. And then once we put the radar there, we'll basically assemble the antenna with a crane.
My God.
Yeah, so it'll be pretty
How
cool.
long does
It'll
that
be pretty
take?
fun. I don't know. We're building it right now.
That doesn't sound overly mobile.
It's deployable. So the idea basically is, you know, you wouldn't go tornado chasing with it, but, you know, something for like a hurricane or something, you know, where you have 2 or 3 hours to set up the radar. You know, you could set it up in 2 or 3 hours, keep it there, and then disassemble it, you know, 2 or 3 hours again.
So, Dr. Kosiba, do you explain to everybody, when you take the Dow out, is that something that's already, like you're only doing some kind of specific research, or do you just on a chase day take it out there and see if you can get a tornado?
No, and I know people always think that. We do have some flexibility with the way a couple of free, you know, weeks or a month, a year that we could sort of do what we want with it. But basically what they are right now is the National Science Foundation. They're part of their observable network. So us, just like any other researcher out there, actually has to request to use them. So if we wanted to use the Dows for, you know, tornado chasing or hurricanes, we actually have to ask to use them and put together a proposal.
Who else would be using them?
I mean, there's other projects that are going on. I mean, there's a lot of different projects that people request them for, just different researchers at different universities. And yeah, I mean, if they're not being used, you know, which, I mean, they're usually, I mean, during a year, we're pretty busy, and this has been a pretty busy year, but I mean, you have to have money and stuff to take them out, you know, so it's like, you know, we can't just spend our money on whatever we want to do.
It's not like going to the library and checking out a book, right?
No.
Take the Dow out.
I think I'll take the Dow out now. No, there's a review process for that. But yes, so we are also subject to that as well.
Have you been a part of the Vortex Southeast project?
I personally have as a scientist, but we have not bringing out our radars to that project. So maybe in future years we'll be doing that
So so who's doing that then?
So
Who's providing the vehicles?
Well, I can give you this big long explanation of how Vortex SE works. But the super short explanation is that Vortex SE is NOAA sponsored. So we are NSF sponsored, our vehicles. So actually NOAA would have to pay a little bit to take out our vehicles. So places like the National Severe Storms Lab, they have a NOXP radar, an X-band radar, and there's a bunch of NOAA sponsored stuff out there that are getting some funding. And then Kevin Knupp at the University of Alabama, he has a mobile radar and some mobile systems. So,
were you a part of the original Vortex
God, I'm not that old. No.
I didn't know maybe at what point you came into all that. But.
No. And actually, in all fairness, I probably could have been a college student. But no, I was not part of the original project.
What years was that?
96 and 97, I think, or 97 and 98, something like that. I think those are.
Phil, you're trying to guess her age. Knock it off.
No, not at all. I'm trying to really figure out when that was because, truthfully, I didn't think it was that long ago. And when you say late 90s, to me, that's not that long ago.
Yeah.
So that's my apologies.
Okay, so tell us about the. I was interested about the lake effect. You know what you guys are doing with that project.
Yeah, so the original project, actually the one you named, obviously up in upstate New York on Lake Ontario and also Lake Erie, they got a lot of lake effect snow up there. And the real fun thing about that is that in terms of stuff that you don't know about is that they don't have really good radar coverage up there. So they actually don't really see these bands that well. I mean, they do see them, and some of them in some places they don't see. So really understanding more about some of this band formation, how it interacts with all these, with the lake, but also sort of the upstream environment. And everybody's probably heard of the Tug Plateau. I think that keeps making the news now recently. And every winter, it seems like the Tug is breaking their records. So looking at that, so the original project was Scott Steiger at the University of whatever's up there, Oswego, New York. And it was just him, and it was a single radar. And then a few years ago, we did a project called Owls. And I'm not going to remember what the acronym stands for, but it was a much bigger project and it had a lot more investigators in it. Once sort of Scott Steiger, not proved, but sort of showed that the radars were really good for seeing this stuff. So then we brought up 3 of our radars, University of Wyoming, King Air, and a bunch of other instruments. So that was a pretty decent sized project with a lot of different scientists involved, including ourselves. And sadly, I mean, my interest in that was not sadly, but I like things that rotate. And these lake effect bands actually have a lot of what we call mesovortices in them, which, although they look cute on radar, for the most part, they're pretty benign.
Oh my gosh. So I'm assuming that's that tornado. Well, most weather people have some kind of a favorite weather phenomenon. So I'm assuming tornadoes is yours.
Yeah, I think tornadoes is mine. I like hurricanes too. But just because there's a lot of things you don't know about both, like not you, but a lot that people don't know about tornadoes and hurricanes. So no, they're just interesting in the sense that like it's challenging to observe them, and then there's just challenging questions out there. So it's but it's also sort of incremental, moving science forward in these things.
Right.
Anything interesting you about Hawaii right now?
I mean, they're going to get outer rain bands probably. Obviously that's interesting in some ways, but it doesn't look like they're going to get a direct hit, at least right now. No. At least by the eye wall. When I say direct hit, I'm probably very picky about what that means.
Yeah. Plus Panama to Hawaii. That's going to be a tough time.
Yeah, that's a tough time to get there.
Turn them around.
Although they're on a boat, so we could actually get the eye wall.
So tell us, Karen, a little bit. Obviously, your background and some of the storms and tornadoes, and what have been some of the most memorable ones for you?
This one time I was in a radar truck and
it's the same story, huh?
there was a screen with all these colors on it, and it got a little windy.
I mean, there had to have been like with these teams, right? All these teams that you've got, there's got to be some high pressure situations where you're putting people.
There has been, and I'm being a little facetious.
God, just remind me not to be a part of your project when you're watching the radar. Jeez.
No, it's good because I'm watching it. You want me doing that.
That's true. That's very
you don't
true.
want me being like, oh, and then there's this cloud and blah.
So think stress, or then maybe you don't get stressed out. I don't know. What could have been some exciting moments?
There's been probably 2 standout tornado ones, and hurricane ones are always stressful. Hurricanes are stressful from start to finish.
Wow.
Really?
Why?
Oh, yeah. Hurricanes are super stressful. I'll go back to tornadoes, but hurricanes, just because I guess everybody's, it's hurricane season. So we did Harvey, and that was stressful in the sense that it was really windy. And that was probably the first hurricane that I'd been in. I've done 8 hurricanes I've been in. And that was the first one that the wind was actually more interesting, in the sense that, we actually were getting, wind gusts. I think our peak wind gust there was 143 miles per hour.
Oh my gosh.
Where we were at. So, so that was interesting. But the one that probably there was a Hurricane Isaac, back in whenever. This was like a non-hurricane almost. And we decided, since it was a non-hurricane, to just go for it. Yeah. So there's this peninsula under New Orleans. I can't even think of the name of it, where the Mississippi River goes down. It's basically all swamp. And there's levees. So there's the Mississippi River, and then there's levees on either side. And basically we're let's just go far, far down. And for hurricanes, what we're looking at when we deploy is we're always trying to decide, how close can we get to the coast, and basically not get surged. So, surge is a huge, huge problem in hurricanes, and especially the places that we want to deploy. But we thought this was a not interesting hurricane, so we went way down this peninsula. And we deployed on a levee, and the hurricane was slow and big, and all the models that we looked at, all these forecast models, all these flood forecast models, really just underpredicted the storm surge. And that actually was a storm, I think, that really made the Hurricane Center look at, the storm surge forecast stuff, because we give ourselves obviously a lot of room. We don't just give ourselves a foot, but it was getting pretty close. So it was pretty nerve wracking. A boat became unhinged and was sort of floating towards us during the hurricane. So again, it wasn't really windy, but it was windy in the sense it was a hurricane, but the water, and we kind of, and the emergency management officials, they knew we were down there, and they kept calling us, and their tidal gauges, they kept getting all these tidal gauge measurements, and they're like, it says, 13 feet. They're like, that can't possibly be right, is it? And I'm like, oh, yeah. Yep, it's right. It's right. Wow. Looks right. It's pretty high. It's, so we were a little worried that it might top the levee that we were on. And eventually, after the storm, the levee north of us broke. And we were basically refugees at a fire station for a couple of days down there.
Oh my gosh. So do you guys have limits on how far you'll go? Into the storm, or?
Well, what we're trying to do is we are really trying to get, the right front quadrant of the eye wall. So we're trying to get the nastiest winds that are coming ashore. And it's always an iterative process. It really is. So myself and my colleague, Josh Worman, we're always back and forth. He always plays, devil's advocate on the, oh my God, let's go out on a barrier island. And I'm always like, oh my God, let's, deploy 50 miles inland. And somehow, we're doing this. We, converge on, I think, what's a sense of, a place that makes sense to deploy. So it does start out sort of funny where we're both, because he knows I'm sort of conservative, and I know he's, on the other end. So we're both, and then we also, both just go extreme about it. Go ahead.
What are the trucks rated for wind? Because you've been talking a lot about winds. I'm like,
They survived 143 mile an hour gust.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if they're rated for wind.
They're
obviously,
heavy.
Yeah, they're high.
That helps.
They weigh 26,000 pounds. They're big, heavy trucks.
Okay.
In the hurricane, they get horrible gas mileage. And in Hurricane Harvey, we sort of actually did a slightly dumb thing. Is that we deployed at an airport, which is one of our places we kind of like to deploy because it's a nice, flat, open area. Yeah. But some of the airport buildings, because it actually ended up being a wind event, came apart. So there was a little bit of, debris that actually took out some of our anemometers at a certain point. But again, the trucks are heavy and hard, and they're good.
Did Noah know about that? Because they're on line 1 right now.
Yeah, they're calling. They're calling. Hey, so question. You brought up Dr. Josh Worman. You know, you guys were a part of the Discovery Channel Storm Chasers TV series. Give me one word to describe your experience with that production.
One word.
What do you think?
Can I give you more than one word?
Yeah, sure. What the hell? We're crazy. We're wild and crazy. Let's go nuts.
Let's go crazy. It was good. In some ways, it was good. I mean, there was, those were years that we didn't have a lot of NSF funding. A lot of times, we're trying to, be creative and find other ways to get funded to do stuff. And we're trying to do different things for hurricanes and insurance companies. For me, I mean, the funny thing is, for me, I was a graduate student when that happened, actually. So they were having a hard time placing, quote unquote, the Karen character. I mean, not the Karen character, but the female meteorologist character, because I guess I don't know what they were thinking, because I think they wanted somebody that maybe asked more questions, or maybe like wanted to fight more with people, or so. I mean, it's TV, right? I mean,
right.
Or scream or something. I mean, but I was a graduate student, and I didn't really know I was going to end up working, with Josh. So, I mean, you kind of wanted to impress people. I mean, and, people that I'd be applying for jobs, would probably be like, really? Oh, we didn't know what a tornado was? Like, or, I mean, we're like, oh God, you were really quarrelsome. Like,
so how'd you play it? So you went into it saying, okay, I'm going to play it this way. How'd you play it?
I went into it.
How'd you play your own character?
I went into it being probably really quiet, and they're like, yeah, no. and then they were just never able to find kind of that person that they were looking for. I mean, so then it was just every season, like a new female of some sort came in, and they never tried another female meteorologist again. So, I mean, it was fine. Again, it was good. I mean, and probably
they could
in
never
later
replace
years,
you. That was probably
yeah, that's what I meant to say. I mean, I think if it was now or something, I would have been a different, person on camera. I mean, I would have been probably more free with stuff. Like, no. But
like
I mean,
what? So how would you play it today? How would you play your character of Karen Kosiba?
I think I'd be more
Storm
me,
Chasers?
and I probably would be quarrelsome. I mean, sometimes, because I do disagree with stuff, and I am more vocal than I was. I was probably really afraid of looking stupid. So
yeah, you're probably more confident now.
Yeah,
I mean,
and I don't know. I just pictured, like I said, applying for jobs, and people are like, "Oh, wow, remember that time you asked that really dumb question?"
Right. Yeah, you have to think about that. Absolutely.
So,
and now you're on this show, which is recorded as well.
There you go.
Use that on your resume.
I come a long way. I think ultimately, I didn't want to say bad. I mean, so it was a mixed thing with Discovery Channel, but I mean, I think ultimately it was a good thing. It just wasn't for me the right time to be probably that person.
So
good save.
So tell our listeners how they can follow you on social media, how they can find out what you're up to.
I have a Twitter account that I don't really know how to use.
You're not sure if you have it?
Well, it's like I go through these phases, and like I don't even know how to. Sometimes I'm like, I don't really know how to retweet, and like, or with a comment, or like and then I go off it for months, and then I come on, and I'm like, so yeah, Karen Kosiba. It's really original.
Just don't do voice to text. I'm telling you right now.
It's easy to find. All right. Well, it is definitely time for lightning round. This is our game show of fun and brilliant questions for our guest. We have the joy tonight. We're going to bring back an old one that we call Head to Head. Yeah. So I think last time we played this, I'm thinking
I
back.
don't remember it.
Yeah, I think we played this with Catherine Prosiv from the Weather Channel. And it was, we did Rolling Stone's Top 100 Guitar Players. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yes.
And so we figured we'd pull something similar back. I read something, Karen, where you were a fan of TV. You like to watch TV.
I do, but not live TV.
Not live. Okay,
like old stuff.
Oh,
old
yeah.
stream.
VHS
Okay, well,
TV.
Here's the thing. This might still work.
Okay.
But I pulled up. We did Rolling Stone last time. I thought, well, hell, let's do Rolling Stone again. So we're looking at Rolling Stone's top 100 greatest TV series.
Okay.
Of all time. Okay. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you 2 TV series. Okay.
Yeah.
They are separated by 10 positions in the top 100 list, but you just have to tell me which one is higher on the list.
Okay.
Which one scored better?
You don't want me to fail here, is what you're trying to do.
No, it doesn't matter. You
set me up for
what works
success.
for you. Yes,
Because you're drinking coffee. That's what.
Everyone's a winner.
So here we go. Here are the first two shows. It is Real Time with Bill Maher. Bill Maher.
Mar.
Right?
Mar.
Bill Maher.
Mar.
Sorry. Jeez. Well,
Jeez.
I don't watch his show.
Mhm.
So Real Time with Bill Maher and Jeopardy. You need to tell me which of those ranked higher in the Rolling Stone Top 100 list.
Jeopardy.
Jeopardy?
Yes.
That is
Oh,
incorrect.
That's a travesty.
Bill actually ranked higher. So Bill was ranked, what was Bill? He was 84th, and Jeopardy was 94th
Aw.
in that list. All right.
Okay.
So we're starting off near the bottom. We're going to climb
Okay.
to the top as we go, so it's going to be a little harder at the bottom. All right, the next one, what are we going with? We're going to go with either The Walking Dead, relatively
Okay.
new show, right? Or The Odd Couple from 1968.
Ooh.
Which one was ranked better, higher?
I'm going to go with The Odd Couple.
You were saying The Odd Couple, and I want to remind, obviously our listeners, viewers, you guys can play along. Freaks, you're welcome to give her your advice on that.
When
moving
was this
forward.
written?
Walking Dead.
This was 2016, I think
I should be like
2016.
Googling this in the
Oh,
background.
yeah.
So we've got the so we're going with you said The Odd Couple, right?
Yeah.
Odd Couple, and that is
Oh.
correct. It's Odd
Big
Couple.
thing.
Wow.
So very good. All right, here we go. Next one. We're going to go with Roseanne or Beavis and Butthead. Maybe the same
Oh.
show. Who knows?
It could be.
I'm going to go with Roseanne.
You're going to go with Roseanne. And the answer, Roseanne, is incorrect.
Oh.
Beavis and Butthead.
Beavis and Butthead was 60th.
Yeah.
Roseanne is 70th. And I forgot to mention that The Odd Couple was 67, Walking Dead was 77. So, all right, next one. We're going to go with either The Bob Newhart Show or The Americans,
Ooh.
which I'm not familiar with, but is new, 2013 to 2018.
It's about Russians.
Yeah.
Okay, Americans or Bob Newhart Show? What's higher? What do you think's higher? What do you guys think?
I keep going with these classics. I feel like it should be the Bob Newhart show.
It should be.
It should be too.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're saying The Bob Newhart Show?
Yeah.
That is
What?
incorrect. It is
Come
The
on.
Americans is 43rd, Bob Newhart Show 53.
That was a drinking game too. Used to play that
was.
Bob Newhart. You remember that?
Yeah, this is
I
written
don't
by
remember
20 and 30 somethings.
Oh,
All
right,
right, here we go. Next one. We got just a couple left. Either Law and Order. We're moving up now. We're getting near the top. So either Law and Order or Friends. What do you think was picked as a better TV series?
Easy.
Really? I would say
Law
Law
and
and
Order
Order. Is that what people are
No,
thinking?
no.
Friends?
Friends. That's what I'm thinking.
I
What do you
think
think,
so.
Karen? What's your answer?
Law and Order's been on for 100 years. I mean, that's like show never
Back with
ends.
Vortex One.
It seems like 100 years. So, Karen, what is your answer? I need an answer. Law and Order or
Law and
Friends?
Order. I don't
You
hate
can go with
me.
Law and Order. That is incorrect.
Right. I think
You did
it's
tell
Friends,
me.
yes.
You're not. You don't watch that much TV. All right. So Friends was 26. Law and Order was 36. All right. We got two
I watch
left.
Law and Order.
Two left. We got Star Trek, the original Star Trek from the 1960s, or Saturday Night Live. Which of those was ranked higher?
I know what it should be, and I think I
Star
know what I
Trek
went
or
with.
Saturday Night Live? What do you guys think?
I think I know.
Karen?
Star Trek.
She's gonna say Star Trek.
I'm thinking
That's what
SNL.
I think.
It's a bigger audience.
All right. What's your answer, Karen? What are you going with? Star Trek?
I'm going with Star Trek. I'm just
All
looking
right,
at the
Star
wrong
Trek.
stuff.
So she's a Star Trek fan, but she'd be wrong. That is
I
not
told-
correct.
I totally agree,
All right.
but I think that's how they would have picked it too.
Sa-
so
Saturday
combative
Night
and
Live.
argumentative.
Saturday Night Live was 8th, and Star Trek was 18th.
I'm actually just trying to see how many I
So-
can get wrong.
Here we go. You are on a roll, girl. You are moving. You give hope to many people, right? Here we go. Finishing up. This is 1 and 2. One of these was ranked number 1. One of them was ranked number 2. And so you got to tell me which one was number 1. Is it The Sopranos or The Wire?
Oh,
Which was ranked
Wire.
number 1?
Friends.
Sopranos.
Am I the only one that's never heard of The Wire?
It's that
No,
like
I don't. I've never heard of that either.
it's the Baltimore police detective.
Oh, okay.
show. It was on HBO for a while. See, I do watch TV.
All right, you do. That's
Sopranos.
good. You at least
I'm
know.
going
So
with
she's going to say
Sopranos.
Sopranos, and she would be correct. She finishes on a high note.
That's right.
All right,
Brady joined.
you did it. Did a great job. So you finished strong. That's what counts. Because see, everyone's only going to remember the last one
Correct.
that you got perfectly correct and you got right.
Tell
So,
Dr. Karen what she's won, Phil.
That's right. You want a lot of pride. That's what you win on our show. Lots of pride. We give it out in handfuls. So thanks for playing along. Hey, we're gonna go ahead and take a short break. When we come back, we're gonna cover some of our WX resources with you on our new segment of crazy, wacky, believe it or not, weather stories.
Hey, welcome back. We are having a good time here. You really should be here on breaks. That's all I can say because we have a really good time. Hey, time now to find out what's happening in WX resources. We're going to go ladies first. Kim, what do you have for us?
Oh, well, guys, and I don't know, maybe before me you have this one already, but have you ever heard of the app WT Forecast?
No, I have not heard. No.
Okay, all right. You guys are in for a treat on
Sweet.
this. Okay?
I'm so excited.
Are you excited? Okay.
Sure.
Okay. If you download the app WTF or WT, it's
That's our show title.
guys, I swear the name of the app is capital WTF and then it's
I love it.
T forecast. You could say
Forecast.
WTF forecast or whatever you want to say. Anyway, it's the cutest thing ever. So, did you hear that? Okay. So it's one of these apps where it tells you the weather, but it gives you it says something about the weather. So you just not only get your forecast, which is pretty accurate most of the time, but you can also, it talks to you and tells you what the weather's doing. So I brought up Kennesaw, Georgia, and it comes up and it says this.
It's pretty friggin' sweet outside. Hope you don't run into a bear with her cubs.
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
Did you hear that? So it gives these crazy sayings. You can go in here and put on profanity. Okay, and we'll try that. Hopefully this is not a bad one. Should I avoid that one?
Get
Get
ready,
the beats.
MJ.
No, do it.
Do it.
Do it,
Okay,
dude.
all right, here we go.
It's dope as fuck outside tonight.
It's dope as
okay.
fuck.
Wow. Okay, beep.
Okay. Yeah, it's dope as you know what outside tonight. Okay.
Wow.
So
We
it
got
gives
to
you-
sponsor
seriously,
that.
Yes, this is hilarious, you guys. It comes up with the craziest things you ever thought of. It tells you instead of seeing your forecast, it tells you, but in a profanity laced way, if you want it that way, what the weather's like outside. So it
I
uses
love
the
my weather with
F-bomb.
profanity.
Anyway, so this is a cool app, and it's I think it's free because I went and put my little thumb on it and did something. I don't know if I paid for it, but anyway, a cool one to go to. And WTF forecast, you'll love it. I swear
Cool.
you will.
All right.
And you
So
can turn it
double-
off so there's no profanity on it. You could also
You
make
can.
it just fun.
That's no fun.
Yeah,
That's
but it's different.
absolutely no fun.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway,
Well, that was fun.
yeah. So
Okay.
I don't know how we're going to edit that, but yeah, that was a ton of fun.
I thought I was
Right.
prepared,
Live.
but obviously I wasn't.
Brady, what do you got?
All right, guys. So, as many of you know, the hurricane has been going on in near Hawaii. So mine is more of a tweet, and this is from this is called A Stadium View Inside the Eye. So basically, these are the hurricane hunters that are going inside of the eye of the hurricane. This was when it was a Category 5, and you can see. I mean.
Oh, wow.
It's not clear, there's a little bit of a clearing down there, but it's not completely clear in the eye. But then when they kind of pan up, you can see the bowl. I mean, and then
Oh, that's awesome.
the high level cirrus is just not there. So it's crazy. I don't know if I'd ever want to do that. Fly a plane, into the eye of a hurricane. And I still to this day don't understand how they do that. But I guess I should go back and listen to our podcast with Warren Madden.
Warren.
That
Yeah.
would be good. Yeah.
He's like, been there, done that, done that, done that.
Yeah, which it's still every time I see that I'm like, oh my gosh. just insanity.
Just fly into the hurricane from the top, fly into the eye from the top, and just fly around a little bit, and then fly back out through the top. And
or you just stay in the eye, get like a good time lapse,
Right, until it dies out. And
What are you like Iron Man, Phil? How do you fly in and out like that?
Yeah, I am Iron Man. Didn't you know that?
Well, Iron Man, what do you have for us tonight?
All right, so I'm going to share with you guys. Hey, there is every year lately. This has been a great convention to go to, but it's the Indiana Chaser Con, the good old Indiana Chaser Con. If you go to www.ind for Indiana, indchasercon.com, you can find all about the 2018 Indiana Chaser Con. It's Saturday, November 17th. It's at the Hendricks County Convention Center near Indianapolis. It's going to be another great lineup of speakers. Let me go ahead and find the speakers they got lined up for. And Karen, we need to get you to come to this, I think, one of these years.
Yeah, that would be great.
We got Aaron Rigsby coming, Storm Chaser from Ohio. Skip Talbot's going to be there. We heard a little bit about him. Love to actually probably get him on the show at some point. But Jennifer, when she was on our Women in Chasing show Series 1, she talked a little bit. She chases with Skip, so he's going to be there. Dr. Nathan Hitchens, who's a professor.
With him.
Oh, did you really? Cool.
I did.
So he's going to be there, and then one of the folks that put it on, Joseph Cooper, he's going to be actually speaking. He co-owns TDS Weather, and then they also have Jeffrey Logsdon, who's a science and operations officer at the National Weather Service in northern Indiana. But those are the speakers right now. I'm going to look to see if I can find out what the prices are currently. If you're a student, you can register for $15. You got $15 if you're a student. That's easy. If early bird registration is open until August 31st for $20. After that, it moves up to $25, and then day of, even if it's available, is $35. So I just wanted to let everybody know about that. Every year has been a great thing. Joe and Beth put on a great show. But in Indiana Chaser Con, Saturday, November 17th, and my saying is, what the hell are you going to be doing on a Saturday in November anyway? You may as well make your way to Indianapolis and catch that. And we will be there as well. Stormfront Freaks will be there as well. So look for us there.
I'm a student of the world. Does that work?
That might count. I don't know. I don't know if you have to show a student ID or not, but
that's
the scoop.
It doesn't
count. Actual size.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's our WX resources. Some great resources for you. We will have links to all of those if you want to go to our show notes of episode 60. You can find the links to all of those things that we just got done talking about. The show notes are available a lot of times right on your phone if you're listening to us on your phone. Otherwise, go to stormfrontfreaks.com, pull up episode 60, and you'll be able to see the show notes and the links from there. So we're going to take our final break. You guys can all go ahead and refill your drink. When we come back, we're going to have this new crazy-ass Ripley's Believe It or Not weather segment that we just still are looking for a title for.
I've got a great one.
All right, hey, welcome back. Hey, we're excited about this because it's another new segment we've got. We're kind of trying to come up with some new fun segments we're going to be doing, obviously weather-related. And so I told all of our co-hosts that this is going to be a segment about weird, crazy, wacky weather stories. You know, I said kind of think Ripley's Believe It or Not. Maybe it's from something in the 1800s. We don't even know if it's really true or not, but it's a crazy story, right? Something that had to do with weather. So I'm gonna turn this over to Kim to kind of kick us off with this to see what kind of crazy ass stories we can come up with tonight.
Okay, well, this is a story from some storms that moved through in Tennessee, and apparently this happened. Can you see the picture?
Oh wow.
Now, if anybody is familiar with traveling up Interstate 75,
Yeah.
you will see this cross, and real close to it, you will see the Adult World store. So I was going through pictures, and I saw that. At first, I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that happened. I mean, that's crazy, you know.
So explain what are we looking at here?
So we're looking at an Adult World store, an adult store. Do you get my drift? Do you know what I mean by that? You know,
no, not exactly.
You know,
Yeah,
A place where
exactly.
only adults can go or
I
should
said
go.
3X's.
Okay, 3X's. Yes, 3X's.
Now you're helping.
Karen, that's
So-
right. I
It's a
forgot.
turkey
there
and
is-
bowling.
It's like a product they would sell. It's like an
Yes,
example.
exactly. And it's right off of 75. You're in Tennessee, and all of a sudden there's this big store. It's like out of nowhere, in the middle of nowhere. It's just bizarre.
It's like an
But
outlet
then-
mall.
Yes, it is, and it's always crowded. And then, but I've
God.
never been in it. But then you're driving, and then real close to it, there's this huge cross, and apparently this cross is an attraction site. I don't know, people go here to see this cross, and so I'm just tooling through these pictures, and I see that I'm like, and for a second I thought, oh my God, did that really happen? So I was looking through it and reading, and of course it's photoshopped, but.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't see any storm damage.
Yeah, there's yeah, exactly. And
Yeah,
storm damage.
So the cross basically fell into the
It fell
adult world
into it.
store and
I'm
right
sorry,
through the
yes.
ceiling. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
Right
you
to
know,
the roof.
people who are religious or whatever would say that they got what they deserve. They got this
Yeah.
big cross falling into this,
All right. So Ripley's Believe It or Not, that would be a knot.
It's
Yeah,
a
don't
knot.
believe it.
No, it's
Don't believe it.
photoshopped.
That's
It's
true.
not.
All right, Maz, I'm going to flip it over to you. What kind of crazy weather story do you got?
Okay, so how many times have you heard, oh, it's so hot in Arizona, and they go, oh, it's not, it's the humidity, it's not the heat, and since there's no humidity, it's not really that hot. Well, this was one of the hottest days I think they ever had in Phoenix. All right, so he's going through his temperatures here, and all of a sudden, hold on a minute, it's 270 degrees to 1,300 degrees. Now, this does happen to meteorologists from time to time.
It's
And
like
he
down here
actually-
in Ahwaukee, it's 1,270 degrees,
yeah,
but it's a
And
balmy
he's handling-
63 in Mesa. But
he's
up in
handling
Cave
it very
Creek,
well.
it's
He's like
29.6.
Wickenburg is a total loss.
Oh,
He
my
goes, I'm
gosh.
pretty sure metal like boils at 2,000 degrees.
The
So
sun
Is he
crashed
saying
onto
that?
Cave
Is he
Creek.
saying that?
yeah, he's
He is
actually
talking about it. Okay.
he's handling it very well, and that is pretty much the bulk of his cast. He's stuck on that graphic, and he said, "I'm not your dad, but I'd
Oh,
get out
shoot.
if I were you guys." So anyway,
Wow.
I
Oh
just
my
wanted to
gosh, that's
share
awful.
that with you there.
Been there, been there.
Okay, all right.
No.
Okay, and this is because Sharknado was just on, right?
It was. We watched all of them.
But so here's what happened. There's actually some truth to that. That when a tornado does pass over a body of water like a lake, river, or pond, some crazy, it can pick things up. This is from mentalfloss.com. I was going to say WTF.com, but no, this is mentalfloss.com. And so this happened. Library of Congress reports that fish fell on a town in Louisiana back in 1947 after a rambunctious storm. Not sharks, okay, but there were
Right.
actually fish falling from the sky down in Louisiana. And then halfway around the world, it says a tornado caused thousands of frogs to rain from the sky on a town in Serbia in 2005. So these are recent stories of again, not sharks, not something that big.
In theory,
So-
it's possible if you get strong enough tornado.
Small sharks.
Right.
All the skepticism
Sure.
of-
So I had to jump in
shark.
front of Brady because he got the Gong Show hook on that. But MJ, I will still finish with you. I think you got one to share.
Well, actually, that was mine, but on that same
Sharknado.
on that same page with Mental Floss, 5 weird but real weather events.
Oh, okay.
You talk about another phenomenon that was kind of interesting, which is that intense heat can keep planes from flying, from taking off. And you sometimes have weather, causing flight delays. Brady just had a delay of some kind. Don't know if it was weather related, but
Mechanical.
okay. But they talk about Phoenix, Arizona as being one place where this happens. When they get to temperatures to 120 degrees and more, the hot air being less dense, it can prevent planes from getting the lift that they need to take off. So anyway, another interesting, phenomena.
Well, it could slow you down. Hey, Dina might know something about that.
Very much,
I
very
suppose.
true.
All right. So, hey, if you want to check out some of these bizarre, strange stories, or whatever Maz threw out there, which was some meteorologist with some bad data, if you want to see those links,
That was real.
And,
Bill, do you want me to send you my link?
no, I don't. We'll
Link
be
that on the
okay.
side.
Everybody, if they really care, they can go watch Sharknado. All right. So hey, MJ, we're gonna jump to you. What do you got for any listener comments or questions?
Well, we always appreciate it when people check in with us, and we had a few of them that did last week. On Facebook, Timothy Veltman says, I really enjoyed watching the taping on YouTube on Thursday night. Looking forward to what Karen Kosiba has to say in the next podcast.
We are too.
And I know that Timothy was watching live, so appreciate that. Keep up the great lineup of guests, he says. And then he sent us a weather meme that we might be able to use when we do that segment again. So thanks, Timothy.
Cool.
Joe Russell checked in on Twitter, and he gave us an update. He was watching the Perseids meteor shower, and he had some statistics of all of them. He had seen quite a few, but the point he made is that he was listening to the Stormfront Freaks podcast while he was watching. So thank you, Joe.
Perfect.
Nice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And Ray Leichner checked in on Twitter, and he was doing some kind of an interview on a local PBS station wearing his Stormfront Freaks Weather Fools concert tour T-shirt.
Lightning round. Lightning round.
Nice.
Oh, sorry, was it the light? It was the lightning round.
Yeah.
Lightning round
Nice.
tour.
Sorry.
Told you.
Good
Told you.
job.
Advertisement.
Favorite part of the show. Telling you.
So thanks for checking in, everybody.
Here's the scoop. So, hey, thanks for listening, right? We appreciate you listening or watching the show. I always tell a friend, and we also encourage you guys, subscribe to the show, because what's great about subscribing to the podcast or on YouTube, subscribing to it, is it just means you're going to get notified when we get a new episode released and sent out. You're going to find out right away, oh, great, there's a new show. It'll show up right in your inbox, so you can listen to it right away and be one of the first to get it if you subscribe. So you can go to your podcast app and you just kind of hit the subscribe button, but works just like a newspaper or magazine. Just get it right away. So
It doesn't mean we get paid when they like us.
you never get paid. No, we don't operate that way.
Right.
And I do want to do this. We had a great time tonight, of course, with our guest Karen Kosiba. So Karen, thank you for joining us tonight. And we got a treat in 2 weeks. Okay, we're going to do the show again in 2 weeks. Because I don't have a script, I don't have the date in front of me, but it's 2 weeks from what's today? August 23rd. So 2 weeks after August 23rd, we're going to do another show.
September 6th.
Thank you. September 6th. It's going to be episode 61, and we're going to have the joy. We have an Aussie joining us. We've had some Canadians, of course, plenty of Americans. We've had a few Canadians, but we have an Aussie joining us. Storm Chaser Dan Shaw is going to be joining us, and I think he's going to actually be in Australia, so we'll have to check on that. But we've had a lot of people ask that we need to get Dan Shaw on the show, and so we're looking forward to having him on the next one. So
He'll be drinking coffee for sure.
yeah.
Foster's.
That's right. big old Foster's. That's so horrible that we think so. All right, because everyone thinks we probably drink what? Budweiser?
Miller, whatever.
Miller, yeah, whatever that is.
Nick Ultra.
All right, so I think that about does it. So I'm going to say for Brady, who was a half-timer tonight, and Kim and Karen and Maz and MJ. We didn't even see MJ. We just heard him. I'm going to go ahead and signal the all clear, and we're going to be excited to catch you guys next time.
Goodbye.
Bye,
Good night, everybody.
Good weekend.
Thank you for listening to the Stormfront Freaks podcast. Find our bi-weekly show on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app. Watch our shows on YouTube and Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV. For show notes, additional information about this episode, as well as past and upcoming shows, videos, photos, merchandise, and more, visit our website at stormfrontfreaks.com. While you're there, check out our live interactive Storm Chaser radar provided by our friends at zoomradar.com. If you would like to contact us with questions or make comments about the show, shoot us an email to questions@stormfrontfreaks.com or follow us on Twitter or Facebook. Search for Stormfront Freaks. We'd love to hear from you. Join us next time and tell a friend about the Stormfront Freaks podcast.
All right, so I'm going to try to share this, and you know how this goes with me sharing things, but we're going to try.
You got this, Kim. You got this.
Okay, I can do this.
I love how Kim, every time she shares her screen, she gives us a play-by-play as she's trying to figure out. Okay, I'm going to share my screen now. I'm going to go ahead and push this button, and now I'm going to see if this pulls up. And
Not going to push
Don't
the button.
push the red button. Yeah, don't push the red.
All right. Don't jinx it. Okay. So, you can go to this at weatherforecasttracker1.com, and you can actually put this on your PC or whatever. You can do it on your phone too. But it's actually, and I hope this is the same site. Now, maybe I could be wrong on this. I feel bad. Maybe I screwed this up. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to switch gears. We're going to undo this. I want you guys to see. I don't think this is the right website.
That website looks cool. It looks like it adds-
Wow.
I
Well,
loved
hey,
it.
you've got a new WX resource
yeah.
to
And
share.
and I don't know because I didn't put this on my PC, but I've got it on my phone. And I don't know how to share that on my phone. But